The Home Secretary says Britain's biggest force, the Metropolitan Police, faces a long road to recovery after a highly scathing review. The report found institutional racism, misogyny and homophobia in the Met. A woman who discovered that pictures of her murdered daughters have been shared by officers says she feels vindicated but angry.
They're the people you call when all else fails. And if we can't trust them to do their job properly, that's a very, very scary thought.
We'll be looking at the details of the report on what the Mayor of London calls one of the Met's darkest days.
Racism, misogyny and homophobia at the heart of the Metropolitan Police Force. Tonight on BBC London, a special programme on what it means for Londoners and what needs to change. The review by Baroness Casey looked at the culture throughout the force and found that it needs a complete overhaul to restore the trust of Londoners. We'll have reaction from those in charge and from people across the capital.
I'm absolutely determined that we will fix this.
We need an external test as to whether we think it's cleaned itself up and the systems are in place.
My feelings are of sadness and anger, but not of shock.
And to say here we are, 40 years later, we're still saying that these things are happening. Come on.
You know, you're hearing too many things about the police that, you know, they're supposed to protect and serve, are they?
I've got friends that want to join the police, you know, but because of the racism and all of it, it put them off.
Also on the programme, Boris Johnson admits misleading MPs over lockdown parties, but says he didn't do it intentionally or recklessly. Why the Hollywood actress Gwyneth Paltrow is in court today over a skiing accident 7 years ago. And the plans to turn Highland water into power in the biggest hydroelectric project in the UK for 40 years.
A man who burgled the home of the former footballer Ashley Cole and threatened to cut his fingers off has failed in his attempt to get his jail term reduced. Curtis Dilks argued that his 30-year sentence was excessive, but the appeal was dismissed. He was convicted last year after his DNA was found on cable ties used to tie up the former England footballer and his partner Sharon Carnew at their home in Surrey. The London Assembly has voted unanimously to build a permanent monument to the Queen somewhere in the capital. City Hall politicians agreed the statue should be in a prominent public location to preserve Her Majesty's memory for future generations. And beavers are going to be reintroduced to West London for the first time in 400 years in an attempt to tackle climate change. The Mayor of London has given nearly £40,000 to conservation groups to create a home for 2 Eurasian beavers at Paradise Fields. The Ealing Wildlife Group said the pair could arrive as early as this autumn.
Sir David Attenborough has planted an oak tree in honour of the late Queen to officially open a new Platinum Jubilee woodland in Richmond Park. The naturalist and TV presenter was joined by local school children and said it was a fitting tribute to her memory. The Plant a Tree for the Jubilee project has seen more than 1 million new trees planted in the Queen's name to celebrate her reign and create a lasting environmental legacy.